You guys list yourselves as progressives on your website. David DePape, his son says he's also a progressive. David DePape, who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, he doesn't like Democrats or Republicans.
A lot of us used to be progressives. But we, for example, the most visible progressives in the country, Bernie Sanders, the Squad, the progressives in Congress, the few of them, we consider them all really traitors.
It still lists you guys as progressive populists.
You're right. We are going to have to remove that.
There's a political shift happening. People on the left and the right are getting tainted with their political parties. Something's happening.
There's now 71% of Americans who want a major new party, because they're so fed up with the Democrats and Republicans and the way that they only serve their big money donors and interests.
One more thing about David DePape. He made a call into a local TV station on Friday after the surveillance video got released. Did you hear the call?
I haven't heard the call.
He talks about political frustrations that he had that drove him to do what he did to Paul Pelosi.
Freedom of liberty isn't dying, it's being killed, systematically and deliberately. The people killing it have names and addresses.
Two unlikely groups are collaborating. They formerly might have been known as the far left and far right, but these Americans are uniting against one group, the establishment, Republicans and Democrats. They've got big plans for later this month in DC to show how they are done with the way things are going in America, and they want to do something about that. The national chairman of the People's Party has joined my YouTube channel to explain their big plans in DC later this month. Before we hear from him, shout out to the sponsor of my coverage, Noble Gold Investments is pleased to let you know that gold is the best investment class of 2022. Real estate, crypto, stocks, and bonds. Gold outperformed all of them in 2022. So what are you waiting for? Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of clients buy real physical gold. Open a gold IRA or silver IRA with Noble Gold Investments this month and receive a free quarter-ounce American Eagle gold coin with every qualifying IRA of $50,000. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments and their thousands of five-star reviews. If you're not ready to invest, download the Noble Gold Investment Guide. Scroll down below and you will find it linked in my description box. For mobile users, hit that More button to find the link. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Nick Brenna, the national chair of the People's Party. Thanks for joining me, Nick.
Hi, Ivory. It's great to be with you.
Okay, a growing number of Americans are fed up with war. They're fed up with America funding the war in Eastern Europe. And so you guys, your party is trying to do something about it. Tell me what you guys have planned.
That's right. And so we got together with the Libertarian Party as the People's Party, and the movement for Assange as well, Julian Assange, World Beyond War, many other anti-war groups and organizations that actually span from left to right politically. And we are coming together on February 19th at the Lincoln Memorial for a big rally, thousands of people, to stop the war in Ukraine. And in particularly to stop the billions of dollars that are going from U.S. taxpayers towards funding that war and bringing us to the edge of a nuclear world war.
Yeah, it's getting a little scary, and Americans are tired of our money being printed for this foreign nation. Why do you think it is that Biden cares so much about Ukraine?
Well, I think he's got a personal connection. He's got Hunter. I think there's a lot of corrupt connections there. So there's a lot of money. Ukraine's one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And so it's really been a money-making machine for politicians. They send billions and billions of dollars. Both the Democrats and the Republicans together have spent about $110 billion over to Ukraine, while people in this country can't afford food or housing or healthcare. And then a lot of that money, of course, we know is just it's staying in the Beltway. It's just going to the military industrial contractors who are then making the tanks and the weapons and shipping it to Ukraine. And then, of course, they're giving the kickbacks to the politicians in DC, including Biden. And so I think that's one of the reasons that they're so invested, is that they're personally profiting from a war that is devastating people in Ukraine, hundreds of thousands killed, Millions have had to leave the country. Thousands of Russians killed as well. And it doesn't benefit anybody, whether in Ukraine, in the US, in Europe, in Russia, or around the world, other than this tiny cabal of military industrial contractors, the Pentagon, and and the members of Congress and Biden who get the kickbacks.
I was reading your pinned tweet on your page. It says, because he's, well, first of all, you have a screenshot of a Bloomberg article. It says, how does Putin stay so popular while losing the war in Ukraine? Because he's not only winning the war, he's uniting the world against American hegemony. So, I mean, that sounds anti-American. What do you mean?
Well, I guess you have to ask yourself then, what is pro-American? Is it pro-American to be spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on a war that is on the verge of nuclear war? Or would it be patriotic or American to instead return that money to taxpayers, or instead put that money into food, housing, healthcare, all the things that hundreds of thousands, millions of Americans don't even have in this country? And so I think that's what you have to ask yourself. And another thing that a lot of people, I think, don't know is that Putin actually has a 70-80% favorability rating in Russia. And that is because for the last 30 years, the United States violated a promise that it made at the end of the Cold War not to expand NATO, which would threaten Russia's vital security interests. And yet every single president since 1991, when the Soviet Union dissolved, has instead expanded NATO right up to Russia's border, which means that they can put nuclear missiles so close to Russian cities, including Moscow, that it wouldn't be possible for them to retaliate, or they would be just wiped out before they retaliated. And so that's an existential threat to Russia. Russia also has been invaded from the West going back hundreds of years, numerous times. The last time was, of course, World War II, invaded by the Nazis. And so it's very, very significant to Russia, when they see kind of Western military powers and a Western alliance encroaching, coming so close to their country and threatening their interests. And that's why Putin is so popular while he's waging that war. And that is a favorability rating, 70-80%, that no politician in the United States has.
Well, Russia also has a lot more censorship in their nation. They have laws in place, and people get jailed for criticizing Putin. So, and I know a lot of Americans are becoming pro-Putin, but that's the fact. And I have my best friend is Russian, and she says my family back home can't criticize Putin or they go to jail. So is that favorability rating accurate is my question. What's really going on? You can't tell when there's so much censorship, right?
Well, I think it is accurate because it's conducted by independent agencies, but at the same time, and it shows the way that that the Russian people actually, it's not just Vladimir Putin or maybe some people in the Kremlin who think that this is a vital threat to their country. The fact that NATO's been brought right up to the border, the fact that the United States staged a coup in Ukraine in 2014 and installed a like an ultra-nationalist Nazi leadership and has been funding them and supplying them with weapons to fight Russia and bombard Russians in the east of Ukraine, in the Donbass region, killed 14,000 people there. And so I think that when you look at all of those things, really the United States has been the aggressor time and time again. And obviously, it's not a good thing. As the People's Party, as Rage Against the War Machine, the event we're hosting, we don't believe that government surveillance should be occurring, but it occurs just as much, at least as much. Sorry, that's my dog. You tell her, Tulip, come here. Come here, Tulip. We don't defend that anywhere. But it happens right here in the United States, and it's justified by war. And so here, for example, we've had so many of our civil liberties taken in the United States in the name of war. Mass surveillance, what Snowden revealed, every text message, every phone call we make, every internet page we browse, every email we send, it's all collected by the security state. It's all collected by the NSA. It's stored in this massive storage facility they have in Utah and analyzed there. So we ourselves suffer the same loss of freedoms in the name of this war. And that's something, that's part of the reason that we have to end this war and the entire military industrial complex in this country.
I want to ask you about another news item this week. We had video released of the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi. Now, you being a part of the People's Party, you guys list yourselves as progressives on your website. And so this man, David DePape, his son says he's also a progressive. David DePape, who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, he doesn't like Democrats or Republicans, his son was explaining, which you said you don't either. So, I mean, what do you think what's your reaction to David DePape as a progressive, going all the way towards violence like that?
Well, I mean, to start off, we're not progressives. We're populists. And there's an important distinction there. A lot of us used to be progressives. But for example, the most visible progressives in the country, Bernie Sanders, the Squad, the progressives in Congress, the few of them, we consider them all really traitors. They've all turned their backs on working people. They refuse to stand up for increasing the minimum wage, for providing health care, for paid sick leave to rail workers, or in opposing this war. They're all for sending billions and billions of dollars. They have voted for every single aid package, military aid package to Ukraine that our government has sent. And they can't provide that same help and aid that is desperately needed here in the United States. So we're not progressives. We want nothing to do with them.
Well, I'm just going to show you guys will have to update your website then, because this website linked on your Twitter, it still lists you guys as progressive populists.
You're right. We are going to have to remove that.
There's definitely there's a political shift happening amongst so many Americans right now. It's really interesting to talk about because people on the left and the right are getting tainted with their political parties. Something's happening. I mean, just the fact that you guys, formerly progressive, are collaborating with libertarians, which I think libertarians are very different than you guys. I mean, you talk about national health care and things like that, which libertarians are the opposite. So to have two opposite parties collabing and to, have people leaving the Democrat and Republican Party, what's going on here? What's causing this?
Well, that's part of the reason that we started the People's Party a couple of years ago. And I think that the libertarians are doing the work that they've done as well, is that there's now 71% of Americans who want a major new party because they're so fed up with the Democrats and Republicans and the way that they only serve their big money donors and interests, and they don't really care about working people, right or left. It doesn't matter. They don't care about any of us. And so we're really proud for this action that we're doing, Rage Against the War Machine at the Lincoln Memorial on February 19th. We're really proud that we've managed to bring together a coalition that spans the left and the right, and to be able to, if we can work with the party, the Libertarian Party, with which we have, very strong disagreements in other areas, economics, then it really, I think, goes to show that everybody from left to right can stand up and oppose this war.
Okay, so one more thing about David DePape. He made a call into a local TV station on Friday after the surveillance video got released. Did you hear that video, or did you hear the call? Because
I have not heard the call. I saw the video, but I haven't heard the call.
Okay, I want to play this short call for you.
Sure.
And just get your reaction because he talks about political frustrations that he had that drove him to do what he did to Paul Pelosi. Here it is.
what do you want to say? Because they released, as you know, they released the video earlier today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes. What did you want? Thank you for calling me. What did you want? What did you want to tell me?
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have an important message for everyone in America. You're welcome. Freedom of liberty isn't dying. It's being killed systematically and deliberately. The people killing it have names and addresses. So I got their names and addresses so I could pay them a little visit and have a heart-to-heart chat about their bad behavior. The tree of liberty needs watering. You need men of valor, patriots willing to put their own lives on the line to stand in opposition to tyranny. I would also like to apologize. I want to apologize to everyone. I messed up. What I did was really bad. I'm so sorry I didn't get more of them. It's my own fault. No one else is to blame. I should have come better prepared. I spent all my time exposing government corruption online, only to have them silence my freedom of speech as quickly as they could. They circumvented the Constitution and private industry. When the ruling class outsources the repression of your civil rights to private industry, it's called fascism. I have a lot more to say. I had a website of over 300 pages. That's 300 pages of stuff they don't want you to hear. I'm in the process of trying to set up a new site out of the reach of tyrannical global homo fascists and their internet censors.
All right, what's your reaction to that?
So he obviously seems like a very disturbed person, and he needs help for what he did, and we as the People's Party and Rage Against the War Machine, we don't condone physical violence against anyone. But the more that the establishment, I think, pushes people, refuses to take care of them, continues supplying billions and billions of dollars, I think you're going to get more and more people, not necessarily who are going to be violent, but more and more people who are going to fall out of the mainstream of politics.
Right. And he's talking about the censorship that is, I mean, when you can't peacefully share your frustrations because they're snuffing out your voice entirely, it seems to lead to acts of violence like he made. But yeah, his son said he thought he was a part of the Green Party because he was a progressive, and his girlfriend was a big fan of Nancy Pelosi. So, but a lot of people's frustrations are boiling over and they're not liking the same politicians that they previously liked. So these are interesting times. I want to show your banner that you have here for the Rage Against the War Machine rally. So people from the right and the left are organizing against war. This is your Twitter with the banner right there. And there you go, because I would say, I don't know, would you call yourself left-wing?
Yes.
And the libertarians are known to be right-wing, and you guys are collabing together for this rally. Yeah,
we really believe that those labels are outdated, and I know that they share that view. It really is just a tiny number, a tiny group of military industrial elites, members of Congress, people in the White House who stand to benefit from this war. It has nothing to do with the interests of anyone else in the country. The price of our food, the price of gas is rising as a result of this war. It's been a major contributor to inflation. So we have that to thank. Like you mentioned earlier, we're losing our civil liberties. The first people who get kicked off of social media are the critics of the war. And now we know, because of Twitter files, that in fact, that is a result of the fact that these deep state intelligence agencies are the ones right there that are shutting down people's freedom of speech. So no matter where you look, whether it's our civil liberties, whether it's what our government is doing with our tax money, whether it is the amount that we're paying just to survive, just to live, just to get around, this war doesn't serve any of us.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with that. So where can people get more information if they want to go to this rally?
They can find us at rageagainstwar.com. After we march or after we rally at the Lincoln Memorial, we are going to march to the White House, and we're going to deliver our demands to Joe Biden. After that, we're going to have a film screening of Revealing Ukraine. We are going to also do a sit-in in Congress on Tuesday, the following Tuesday. And we have some amazing people who are actually joining us for the event, including Jimmy Dore, Medea Benjamin, Scott Horton, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, former congressman, who just signed on, in fact, just yesterday, Andrew Napolitano, the judge, Ann Wright, the former colonel, David Swanson, Daniel McAdams, Garland Nixon, Max Blumenthal, and Anya Parampil of the Gray Zone, Supreme, Tara Reid, Diane Sayre, Kim Iverson, Jackson Hinkle, and Craig Pasta-Jardula. So it's a great group of people that we have.
Mix of Democrats and Republicans. Wow. Okay, last question. What was that like? I mean, as a former progressive, how did this happen where you connected with right-wing people? How did that conversation go?
You know, we someone from the Libertarian Party reached out to us over the last summer, and said, "Hey, we would love to work together on certain areas or have a conversation." And we said, "Hey, yeah, that'd be fantastic." As the People's Party, we believe that we completely reject the kind of like faction of the left or the part of the left that is all about woke and cancel culture. Like we reject that, and so we say, if we agree with people on the right or any political orientation on an issue, we'll work with you on that. We will work to end the war, even if we disagree on every other issue. We'll work with you on that. And so, after that conversation in September, we did a podcast together with the Libertarian Party, and it was a really great conversation. And we found that one of our areas of most agreement was the war. That was in September. So then, as the war really heated up and as we drew closer and closer to nuclear war, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists just released, they updated the annual doomsday clock. And just last week, they announced that they moved the doomsday clock closer to annihilation than ever before. That means that the scientists on the board of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists believe that we're closer to destroying all of human civilization than we have ever been at any time, including at the Cuban Missile Crisis and during the 80s when relations with the Soviets were also very, very bad. And so, that's why we said, no matter what other differences we have, stopping this war, stopping the erosion of our civil liberties, stopping of the billions of dollars, being just burned and wasted abroad and killing people abroad, and stopping nuclear war is something that we can agree on and something urgent that we have to work together on.
Scary times. Well, thank you for coming on and discussing this upcoming event. Nick Brana from the People's Party. Everyone go to rageagainstwar.com for more details. Thanks so much, Nick. Keep in touch.
So great talking to you, Ivory.